From the octagon fire to the studio mics, tune in weekly, we're dropping the spikes, analyzing every punch, every kick that lands. Maniacs in the game, playing with fans' demands. Ken's got the insight, Joe's got the flair, mapping out the fights will take you anywhere. So grab your popcorn, buckle up tight.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
What's up? What's up? Back again, MMAniacs podcast. Joined as always by my buddy Bare Knuckle Ken. What's up, buddy?
What up?
Man, so we got a lot to talk about this week. Man, where do we start? You want to start with John Jones?
I was gonna say you got to start with the elephant in the room.
Yeah, it seems like the biggest.
Wait. I probably shouldn't say elephant. I should probably say the duck in the room.
The duck in the room. So, for anyone who has not been paying attention, John Jones has officially retired from the UFC, and Tom Aspinall has been elevated to the undisputed full heavyweight champion. He'll be at International Fight Week this week. The UFC will discuss his first title defense. So right off the bat, let's start with your reaction, Ken.
That it is absolutely hilarious that Tom Aspinall now gets to put on his resume that I made John Jones retire and I didn't even have to fight him.
I mean, to you and me, yeah. But do you really think that John Jones fans or
no
casuals at large
God,
are
no,
going to think that?
Oh, dude, I've already seen the glazing. That he's the GOAT, all this and that. That, oh, look at this fight win streak. And, of course, they cherry pick it.
Yeah. They don't mention the gift decisions or the steroid tests or anything like that. Yeah, I've seen the glazing as well. I mean, dude, I don't know how John Jones's dick is ever dry. Like, because these guys are just nonstop, just like, dude. On the official post, on the UFC's official post on Facebook, there were so many John Jones nut huggers saying, I understand, enjoy retirement, champ. Like, he didn't have to fight at all. Like, John Jones has proven himself. He has nothing left to prove. Okay. Let's even for a moment say that that's true, that John Jones's record is what it is, and we'll forget about the steroid tests, and we'll forget about the gift decisions, and we'll forget about the antics and the hijinks for a moment. Does this affect John Jones's legacy? Now, I'm not talking about to you and I, because obviously to us it does, right? Mm-hmm. But do you think that the casual fan is going to look back on this and think that John Jones ducked out?
Like
they're going to continue the glazing.
Yeah, in this moment in time, your casual fans, not including the John Jones fans in this, it would be a little blip on the radar of, well, you didn't fight Aspinall, but a year or two down the line, I don't think the casual fan's going to remember it. It'll just be, oh, John Jones had a shit ton of victories. Look at them all.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I tend to agree. I think this won't be as big of a stain on his resume as it should, especially on his GOAT status. I think it should be a huge black mark. John Jones's heavyweight career is a joke. I'm sorry to say, it's an absolute joke. Cyril Gane is a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. He's stand-up. It looked like he straight up laid down for John Jones in that fight. And then he goes and takes a whole nother year before he fights the corpse of Stipe, right? Which Stipe, I mean, look, no disrespect to Stipe. We've said this before. Stipe, in my opinion, is the greatest heavyweight of all time. Like, wins and losses taken into account, Stipe has the record for most title defenses. He fought and beat the best. He lost to Ngannou, which there's no shame in losing to Francis Ngannou. He lost to Cormier, but won the trilogy 2-1. To me, Stipe is the best, but let's be honest. If that fight happened in 2019, okay, like I'll give Jones huge credit for that. But in 2022 or 2023 or even 2024 when the fight happened, yeah, dude, I'm sorry, but Stipe shouldn't have been anywhere near that octagon.
Yep.
And so, and the thing that pisses me off is that Jones is trying to act like he beat the heavyweight GOAT. Like he's trying to use that. That's the thing that just really drives me nuts about this whole John Jones thing is that like he's trying to paint a narrative with his heavyweight career that like, well, I came in and beat the GOAT. It's like, no, you beat the corpse of the GOAT. You beat the ghost of Stipe. You know what I mean? Like you didn't beat Stipe. You refused to fight Ngannou. You refused to fight Aspinall. And you just held on to the belt for 2 years, 3 years, and didn't defend it. Like, unfortunately, though, now let's go to the other side of that. What does not fighting John Jones do for Tom's legacy?
That would have been a hell of a scalp to hang on his wall if he would have actually gotten the fight. Now he's going to have a few defenses to kind of give a little more credit to he should have fought John Jones. Because right now, it's just in the casual fan mind, I'm assuming that they're looking at it like, okay, yeah, he was the number one contender for Jones, but he wasn't really at Jones's level. That's why it's okay that Jones retired. But if he racks up a few defenses, that makes that question stick out a little more in their mind. At least I assume so.
Yeah. The thing is, John knew what he was doing. John robbed Tom. Like, you know, I'm going to borrow from an old wrestling adage or an old, we're going to go back to the old WWF Attitude Era or even before, right? When you had an aging champion, right? And they're let's take Attitude Era, right before the Attitude Era when you had like Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, all these Hollywood Hogan, Macho Man, they all started to depart for WCW, right? What did they do on the way out?
Drop the belt.
Drop the belt. Why? Because you don't have your star show up
to the rival company with your belt.
Promotion holding your belt. It's bad for business, right? And these guys understood that. Like they all dropped the belt because they understood that this is a business and they didn't want to do wrong by the company that helped them to get to where they were, right? Now John Jones, without the UFC, John Jones doesn't exist. John Jones is a nobody, right? So I just feel like he kind of owed it to the UFC to take this fight and drop the belt. Like, not saying drop the belt like, in a predetermined wrestling kind of way, but you should have given Aspinall the chance to get that legitimacy off of beating you. Because John Jones's career, let's be honest, a lot of John Jones's career was built on the backs of fading legends. Like, count how many guys that were already aging out that John Jones beat, that's he gets credit for beating legends like Shogun, right? Let's see. I mean, let's just go through. Pull up John Jones's record real quick for me, will you? Pull up his list of fights on Wikipedia. We're going to go through. Let's count the number of fading legends that whose scalps John has on his wall. Especially early in his career. Because I don't want anything after like he turned 30, 32 or whatever, because then people are going to be like, well, he was already in his 30s. Like, no, I want it when he's in his 20s, when he was the young guy, and he's hanging.
Oh, you got Andre Gusmano. Then you had Stefan Bonner.
Stephen Bonner.
Yep. Jake O'Brien. Matt Hamill, but that one was a loss.
Yeah, that was the DQ loss. No, but Stephen Bonner. Okay, so there's already one legend who was past his prime.
Vladimir Mishihenko. I have zero idea.
Matushenko.
Okay.
Yeah, Matushenko. He was another one who was he was big before John Jones, but by that time he was already past his prime. So there's two guys.
Ryan Bader.
Bader departed shortly after. Bader departed to Bellator.
Mauricio Hua.
Shogun. There's four.
Quentin Jackson.
Rampage was already past his best buy date at that point.
Lyoto Machida.
There's six.
Rashad Evans.
7.
Vito Belfort.
8.
Channel Shonen.
Chael Sonnen.
Okay.
Chael Sonnen, like, yes and no. Like, Chael Sonnen still put up some good fights after that, but, like, yeah. But keep in mind, Chael Sonnen was a 185er. He moved up to 205 to fight Jones.
Yeah. And then Alexander
Gustafsson?
Yep.
No, Gustafsson was in his prime in their first fight, so that's a legit.
Okay.
Although I believe he lost that fight. I gave that fight 3 rounds to 2 to Gustafsson, the first fight.
Then hold on, I accidentally clicked it. Glover.
And then rather than giving him an immediate rematch, he waited him out for another 2 or 3 years or more.
Oh, it was more.
Yeah.
Because that was in 2013. His next fight with him was until 2018.
So 5 years. He aged him out for 5 years.
Yeah. Then Glover Teixeira.
Glover Teixeira. I'm not. That's another scalp of an aging legend, but at the same time, Glover still went on to win a title after that. So,
you got to give him that one then.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying that Jones didn't beat these guys. I'm just saying, look at the number of aging legends that were fed to him for him to grow his legend and his record, right?
Yeah, and then you had Daniel Cormier.
Okay, so Cormier, Cormier was in his prime, so I'm not gonna count that.
Can't tell if that's an O or a Q. I'm gonna say it's an O since there's not a U next to it. So Ovin St. Peru.
Yeah, Ovin St. Peru. He was never a legend. He was like he was a middle of the pack guy who, for a while, he became a contender, but I actually liked Ovin St. Preux, but he just could never get over that hump and put it all together. He would win a fight, lose a fight, win a fight, lose a fight.
Yeah, and then you had the no contents with Daniel Cormier.
Oh, for the steroids. Okay.
Mm-mm. And then his rematch with Gustafsson.
5 years later. And by that time, Gustafsson had already aged out. He was past his prime.
And then you got Anthony Smith.
I guess you could call him a legend because he has so many fights, and he was a contender for a good while, but I mean, he's not one of the all-time greats or anything.
Thiago Santos.
Thiago Santos.
Oh, Thiago.
Yeah. That's the fight. That was the first real chink in Jones's armor because I actually thought Thiago won the first 1-3 rounds in that fight, and I thought it was a gift decision. And then Thiago Santos, they gave Jones the decision, and then he goes on and he fights Dominic Reyes, and then the same thing happens. But Thiago Santos and Dominic Reyes were both in their primes for those fights. So, like, he fought legit contenders.
So there, Brett.
What's going on, Brent? So my point is, I mean, we're already at about like 12 guys, right, on his resume. And then let's add the corpse of Stipe, right? So we're at about 13 of those wins that are questionable. And not questionable in the sense Jones beat them all, right? Like, I'm not saying he didn't, but questionable in the sense of these were fading legends who were either just past their prime or way out of their prime, and they were fed to Jones because they were a name, right? They were a big name, and they would add to his mystique, add to his resume. So John Jones benefited from really, really intentional matchmaking throughout his career. And then when it comes time for him to return the favor and to do a solid to Tom Aspinall, to give the kid a shot to get the rub at greatness, he tucks tail and runs. Now, I've said this before. I'll say it again. In defense of John Jones, sort of. Or it's not even really in defense. It's more like, look, if Jones had retired right after the Stipe fight, like in the ring, if he had taken off his gloves and said, that's it, I have nothing left to prove, I'm not mad at him for not fighting Tom. I'm like, okay, you know, that you capped your career with a win over the ghost of Stipe. You retire pretty much undefeated. I mean, you know, nobody really counts that loss to Hamill because he knocked Hamill out with 12-6 elbows and got disqualified. But to hold on to the belt for a whole nother year and to keep dangling the carrot, like you're going to fight Tom, and making all these conditions, and then the UFC meets those conditions, and then you still back out.
Oh yeah, because I think he even pissed Dana White off, because Dana came out and said that we had everything all set. I gave him the money that he wanted, and everything was a go, and he just retired.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. To me, it just shows the lack of character. And, you know, not to mention Jones has another criminal pending matter right now. Pending criminal matter.
I thought that was mighty ironic that happened right after he retired.
It happened before. He was already like facing the charges.
Oh, okay.
So that probably contributed to his retirement, but it's just, I'll never understand the Jones Glazers, dude. Like, you have to overlook so much to put John Jones as the GOAT. Like, I get it. John Jones was an amazing fighter. I'm not taking that away from him. The guy kicked a lot of ass and a lot of, like, legend ass. You know what I mean? But let's be honest. John Jones had attributes and advantages that other people did not have. Like, the guy had an 84-inch reach. 84 inches. You look at his tail of the tape, nobody ever even came close to matching that reach, dude. Right? So you've got this tremendous advantage in height, reach, and like then on top of that, you're using steroids. Then on top of that, the UFC is giving you favorable matchmaking. Then on top of that, you got the judges in your back pocket. Like, even if you lose, you don't really lose. Like, the guy had just every advantage in the world given to him. And he still chose to cheat. That's the thing. Like, dude, if John Jones had never tested positive for steroids, I have no problem calling him the GOAT. No problem. The fact that he used steroids when he didn't have to, yeah. The fact that he used steroids when he didn't have to, that to me is what disqualifies him. But I want to talk about, you know, I think we've spent a good amount of time on Jones, but I want to talk about Aspinall, because Aspinall just got robbed. Like, He got robbed of the opportunity to legitimize his title reign
Mm-hmm.
on the back of Jones, right? Like Jones, he can say whatever he wants about how a win over Tom doesn't do anything for his career. That's bullshit. Because Tom is a legit phenom. People see that Tom is legit. Tom is the best heavyweight in the division right now. And granted, the UFC heavyweight division right now is thin,
Mm-hmm.
very thin. And this is another reason why I'm saying Tom got robbed. Because who's Tom going to defend the belt against? Cyril Gahn? Curtis Blades? Like, come on, man. Like, Tom, even if this is my thing that pisses me off, even if Tom rattles off 4 or 5 straight title defenses, I think he could do it because the UFC heavyweight division is so thin. There's not really any real talent there. There's not any killers there, right? Tom is unfortunately, he came along at a time when, you know, talent in divisions is cyclical, right? Like you'll have eras, you know. Like right now, we're in the lightweight era, but we're coming to the end of the lightweight era because guys like Poirier, Gaethje, Holloway, those guys are all going to end up retiring here soon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So McGregor, we're coming out of this era where the lightweights were the cream of the crop, right? Now you're starting to see welterweight is starting to become a good division. You have a lot of young talent there, right? You have Ian Machado Gary, Shavkat Rachmanov, right? Bilal is kind of old, but you have Bilal Muhammad. You have Islam moving up, right? You have Jack Della Maddalena. You have a lot of, you got some aging guys like Gilbert Burns. You've got but you've got enough talent there in the top 10, and especially young guys coming up, that welterweight looks like it's going to be a good division for a while, right? Lightweight is on its way out. Welterweight is kind of taking over. But heavyweight, it really lacks the star power, and it has for a while now. Like there was a time when Stipe and DC were having their little rivalry. You had Stipe, DC, and Ngannou. And then you had, Derek Lewis when he was still Derek Lewis. You had some talent there, but now, and this is not to shit on the UFC's heavyweights. Like, bro, I can't do it. I'm not saying these guys are pussies or anything. I'm just saying there is no clear-cut stars at heavyweight. And Tom's reign is going to suffer for that. Because even if he rattles off 4 or 5 title defenses, which I believe he could do, especially in the current landscape, he's not going to get the credit for it. Like, he's not going to get the credit as the greatest heavyweight of all time because they're going to be like, yeah, but look at who he beat. Like, is defending the title against Tai Tuivasa going to do anything for him? Is beating Curtis Blades going to do anything for him?
No.
He already beat Pavlovich, right? So is defending against Pavlovich or Cyril Gahn going to do anything for him? I don't think so. And that's like Jones. I think Jones did it intentionally because he didn't want Tom to become the star. Like Jones wants to hang on to his legacy, and so he's not willing to give Aspinall that rub for whatever reason. And Jones says it's because Tom was disrespectful or whatever. Miss me.
Mm-hmm.
Miss me. That's a load of bullshit. But, it's Jones's choice. You can't force him to fight. I hope for Tom's sake that we get some killers in the heavyweight division here soon. Because I really would like to see Tom legitimize his reign. Because I feel bad for Tom. Because Tom, I believe that even in the heyday, like even when the UFC's heavyweight division was full of killers like Prime Arlovsky, Randy Couture, Brock Lesnar, like Cain Velasquez, Junior Dos Santos, I believe Aspinall could be competitive in that era. Like I firmly believe he could give Cain Velasquez a fucking match, bro.
Yeah. I definitely would have loved to have seen something like that.
Oh, can you imagine Prime Cain versus Prime Tom Aspinall, dude? That's a fucking fight, bro. Like, how about Tom Aspinall versus Brock Lesnar? How does he deal with the size? Like, because let's not get it wrong. Like, Brock Lesnar lost his share of fights, but he also won his share of fights. And like Lesnar was not a bitch in the UFC. He's a former heavyweight champ, and he fought the best. He fought Kane. He fought Randy Couture. He fought tough guys like Heath Herring. He fought Frank Mir twice. Like, Brock Lesnar fought some legit competition, and he had no training. Like, Brock Lesnar was an NCAA champion wrestler, left pro wrestling, came in, trained MMA for maybe a year, and then went in and fought and was fighting for a world title within a year or two. And won.
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, to me, Brock Lesnar is completely legitimate. And I believe Tom could. I mean, how do you see Tom doing in that era? Let's break it down. Like, let's look at some of the stars, right? You remember Junior Dos Santos, right?
Hold on, let me look him up so I can see his picture to see.
Cigano. He was a Brazilian, Cigano. Oh, and I even forgot about oh gosh, what is his name? And he's a legend too. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name right now. Stipe beat him for the heavyweight title. Oh, and he's a jiu-jitsu guy. I can't believe I'm forgetting his freaking. My mind is blanking on his name right now. Oh, and I didn't even mention the Nogueiras.
No.
You got Nogueira, right? In that era, you got Frank Mir, you got Nogueira, you got Junior Dos Santos, you got Cain Velasquez.
Yeah, Junior Dos Santos, I don't remember him.
Okay, well, he was Junior Dos Santos.
I probably watched his fights, but just don't remember him for some reason.
He knocked out some good fighters. He actually knocked out Cain Velasquez. He won the title from Cain, and then Cain won the next two and won the trilogy. But Junior Dos Santos, hands, bro. What is his name? Can you look up Stipe? Stipe won the title from this dude. He's a Brazilian, and I'm blanking on his name right now. And it's very frustrating because this dude is like very, very famous. I just can't bring up his name for whatever reason. Oh, it's so frustrating. And he's a jiu-jitsu guy too. That's even worse.
Come on, I bring it up so I can actually read it. Fabricio
Verdum. Verdum, dude. Why couldn't I remember Verdum's name? So Verdum is a world champion in multiple organizations, dude. Like, he's legit, and he's as legit as it gets. So you had, look at that era. Let's say from about 2010 to about 2018. You know, you had Cain, Junior Dos Santos, Brock Lesnar, Randy Couture, Fabrizio Verdum, Stipe Miocic as a young Stipe. You had let's see, I just missed some more. We had more. Frank Mir, Minotauro Nogueira. Like, you have literally, there's your top 10. Andre Arlovsky. Like, you had, like, there's your top 10 right there. That's a freaking top 10, a murderer's row, dude. Like, at that time, if you were in the top 15 at that time, you were a fucking killer, right? So let's break it down. Like, how do you think Tom does against that level of competition? You know, let's go old Randy, because by that time Randy was already old. But
okay,
I think Tom wiped the floor with old Randy.
Yeah, I was gonna say old Randy Couture. Yeah,
Tom wipes the floor with him. Fabrizio Verdum. That's a good fight.
Yeah, I don't
think
remember him well.
Yeah, I think Tom wins because of his striking, but it's a dangerous fight because Verdum his jiu-jitsu is world class, dude. World class. Let's go Prime Stipe versus Aspinall.
Oof.
We're talking about Champ Stipe, like the one that just beat Verdum.
Yeah. That might be a Stipe.
Okay. I think Tom's competitive. I don't know. That's a pick'em fight to me because I agree with you. Stipe's striking is really good, but Tom's good. Tom's good everywhere, and he has power that carries. Man, like he has legit one punch knockout power. Brock Lesnar.
Oh. If he could keep it standing, I think he wipes the floor with Lesnar. But if Lesnar gets to any wrestling at all, and especially any part of the ground and pound, I think he's fucked.
It's a tough fight. Cain Velasquez.
Ooh, I'm going to give that one the toss-up.
That one, dude, to me, I think that's the best fight of them all, actually. Prime Tom and Prime Cain. Like sea level Cain, not altitude Cain, sea level Cain, bro. With the cardio Cain. Like I don't know, man. That's dude. Like I don't know where I'm not betting on that fight.
I was gonna say, you see why I said toss up.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Minotauro Nogueira, another great fight.
Yeah. It just sucks.
I'm going to give it to Tom.
I was going to say, to me, it sucks that Aspinall has had so few noteworthy fights that it's hard to stack him up against some of these guys.
Frank Mir.
Oh, fuck. He might be able to edge out Mir, but I think that's another one that's going to be a hell of a damn fight.
If it goes to the ground, I favor Mir. Mir is the best submission heavyweight in UFC history, in my opinion.
Okay, I'll give you that.
You know, and Mir could stand up too, but I just don't think that. I don't think he could stand up with Tom. I
was going to say one of those baseball bat kicks is a hell of a lot to deal with.
Tom's versatility in striking, I think, is the difference there. But if it goes to the ground, I could easily see Mir getting a spinning heel hook or landing some sort of submission. You know, Mir's jiu-jitsu was top notch. So let's see. How about, you don't remember Junior Dos Santos, but that would have been another good fight. Verdum, Arlovsky.
Oh.
Andre the Pitbull Arlovsky.
Oh.
Arlovsky could strike, dude.
Yeah, that's why I'm having a hard fucking time.
And he had Prime Arlovsky had an iron chin, dude. Like that, I've seen that dude take shots that would knock a horse out, dude. And he still like managed to. I mean, he was rocked, but he managed to stay on his feet. And you're like, dude, how did that dude should have been toast, you know? Like, yeah, dude. I don't know. Like it's a great fight. But my point is like, how many of those fights with those legends that we just talked about, how many did you automatically give the fight to the other guy?
I think one or two.
Which that kind of goes with my point of saying I think Tom could have been competitive in that era. Like he could have been a champ, or at the very least a very high level contender for years, you know. So unfortunately we'll never find out. And it goes back to my original thing of saying, you know, Tom got robbed. Tom is unfortunately going to be the best of a really bad era. Unless the UFC gets some new blood in the heavyweight division, Tom is going to be the best of a really bad era. And that sucks for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So, yeah, I like Tom. Congratulations, Tom, on becoming the champ. Oh, dude, those Jones nut huggers the other day, too, they were calling Aspinall a paper champion because he didn't fight for the belt.
He wasn't allowed to fight for the belt.
But you can't tell them that. No, the belt was handed to him. Like, well, yeah, because the champion refused to fight him, and he was the interim champ, and he even defended the interim title. Like, you're not supposed to defend interim titles, dude. Like, he defended the interim title. So, yeah, I have no problem. Well, let me ask you this. Ken, do you have a problem with Aspinall being elevated to full champion? Or do you think that he should have had to fight for it?
Absolutely not. He tried to fight for it. The other guy refused to have the fight with him. He was the interim champ. That makes you the full-time champ, in my opinion.
Okay, so let me play devil's advocate here and let me push back. Because I can actually see the merit of that argument. And I said congratulations to Tom because the decision's already been made. He's already been elevated. But I think it would have done more for Tom's legacy if he would have had to fight for it. If they would have had him and the number one, the other contender, another top contender fight for the vacant belt, just so there could be none of this talk about him being a paper champion and him not actually winning the belt. Like, he would have won the belt in a legit contest, right? Instead of having it handed to him. I think it would have done more for his legacy, because I think now Jones nut huggers, anytime you bring up how Jones ducked, they're going to say, well, Tom was handed the belt. He's a paper champ.
Well, I would I'd give more to that argument if he didn't have to defend the interim belt that he had.
Mm-hmm.
And you're the interim champ. Who else, what were you going to have him do? Beat the guy he already just defended against to legitimize it? He already did that. What's the point? To me, that's making him go through unnecessary hoops.
Well, it seems that Cyril Gahn is going to probably be the first fight. So I think it would have made sense if they would have had Tom and Cyril Gahn fight for the vacant belt. Let's see. Wild Things fight isn't until the end of July, but going to Vegas this weekend to train for a few days, gain familiarity with hostile territory. It's not a bad idea. You always want to get the lay of the land. Honestly, it would probably be in her interest to train the rest of her camp in Vegas and get used to that heat and go run in the desert, build up the cardio. That wouldn't be a bad thing, like, to get used to those conditions. I know, when fighters fight at altitude like Mexico City's at like 7,000 feet elevation. So fighters will go there a couple months before the fight, and they'll have a good portion of their training camp there just to acclimate to the altitude. There's also fighters who will go train at altitude for a sea level fight.
I was just about to say, remember how popular Big Bear training was for a while?
In boxing, Big Bear is famous for a reason, because guys go train at altitude, and then when they fight at sea level, they have crazy cardio because they're dealing with the thinner oxygen up there. Your cardio gets built quick. It's insane. So yeah. I would advise her, if it's at all possible, try to stay in Vegas and just train there and get used to the conditions, get used to the desert heat, go run in the desert, because running in heat is kind of like running at altitude, like, get used to that, that stifling can't breathe. Like, oh, have you ever ran when it's really, really hot, dude? Like, I remember those football days when it's
I
105
was
in
gonna
hell.
say not in about 20 years, and I hope to keep it that way.
Bro, it's 105 and you're in full pads and you're running wind sprints. Like, dude. Yeah, I don't miss that. But you know what? I was never, almost never in better shape. A few years ago, I was able to run half marathons, and I don't even think I could have done that in high school. Different kind of cardio,
Yeah.
but you know, although I don't know, I wrestled in high school too, and we'd run 5 miles and then come in and wrestle for 4 hours. So,
Mm.
like the wrestling cardio definitely helped. But yeah, dude. So Tom, unfortunately, he's getting screwed. And what do you think about that argument, though? Like, again, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Do you think that being forced to fight, and I only say forced because you wouldn't really have to force Tom. Tom's always been willing to fight. But if they had made him fight for the vacant belt with somebody else, do you think it would legitimize his reign more?
Not really, in my opinion, because as long as he defends it successfully, it's a moot point in my mind. Because
Okay.
no matter if you won the belt by knocking the guy out, or you won the belt because the other guy decided to take his toys and go home, you still defended it against a top competitor.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Now, if he loses that fight, that definitely brings the title reign into question.
Yeah. Yeah. If he loses to Gon, well, if he loses to Gon, we're assuming it's Gon because Gon is the next highest ranked contender. If he loses to Cyril Gon, boy, does that give John Jones a lot of ammo. You know what I mean? That gives John Jones all the reason in the world to say, see what I mean? Like, and you
Oh
wanted
yeah.
me to fight this dude? Like, this dude's a bum. Like, yeah. I don't see him losing to Gon, but I'm just saying, if he does, that's all bad for Tom's career.
Yep.
Like, especially the way that he's linked to John Jones now. That all that talk will instantly go up in a wisp of smoke, dude.
Yep.
Tom will just be another guy. So he's got to win. He's got to win this first fight, this first title defense. And in my opinion, with how he's been built up, he's got to go on a run. He's got to defend the belt at least 3 times. He's got to tie Stipe's record in order to legitimize his reign, especially with how weak the division is now. But I don't think he's going to have a problem doing that. Honestly, like if you look at the landscape. So,
Now, I was going to say you're more into the other promotions in that, or at least know what's going on. Is there anybody in a heavyweight division you could even poach from other promotions?
Nobody that's not under long-term contract. And honestly, it's not like the days where you had Fedor and Pride and like where you could go try to get Fedor in. Like there is no, Fedor is 50 years old now. Like there's not even aging legends that, what are you going to bring back Randy Couture? Like there's nobody. Unfortunately, there's just not, there's kind of a dearth right now of legitimate talent at heavyweight. You're seeing a burgeoning of lighter weight talent, like especially with the Dana White Contender Series. There's a lot of good guys coming through. I don't know, man. I think heavyweight is in some dire straits right now.
Well, just think of it too. There's a lot more guys running around at 155 at what 5'8", somewhere in that range. Then there is these big 6'2", 250-pound monsters.
Yeah, exactly. That Francis is out there. Like Francis is still
I
somewhat
unfortunately
viable.
I unfortunately don't see him ever coming back to the UFC.
After how they treated him, I don't either. But I'm just throwing it out there that like he's pretty much the only legitimate option. Unless you're going to bring back the corpse of Stipe one more time, like there's really Francis is the only one that you could possibly go out there and get. And I don't think Francis is coming back after the way they treated him.
Yeah.
About 15 minutes left. So I want to get into the card this weekend, International Fight Week. We've been waiting for this, right? Charles Oliveira, Ilia Topuria, and let's go down the card and let's get our picks. Let's look at the money lines. What's the money line right now? Has it widened?
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
Because I remember Ilia was like minus 400.
Yeah, it's roughly the same. Ilya's minus 470 and Charles is plus 360.
That's pretty wide. Okay. So are you sticking with your pick? You're going with Ilia?
Yep.
By knockout?
Yep.
What round do you think?
Give me the second, because he might be a little tentative. Well, not tentative, but respect how dangerous Oliveira is and kind of try to work out where the chinks in his armor are.
Yeah. I'm going with Topuria because I just feel like he's the young guy. He's dangerous, but I'm rooting for Charles. Like my head tells me Ilya's gonna win, but my heart is rooting for Charles. I hope Charles strangles the shit out of him, dude. I hope Charles jumps on his back like the spider monkey and just chokes him the fuck out, dude. Like, that would be great. Yeah, I don't see that fight lasting very long. I think it's going to be over either way before round 3. We won't see round 3, I don't think. That fight's going to be over quick. It could even end in the first round. It depends on how aggressive Charles wants to be, how much he wants to engage, which he's going to have to. He's going to have to try to, he's going to have to get close to try to jump on Ilya's back or to get those scrambles that he's going to be looking for to try to get that offensive jiu-jitsu going. So he's going to have to put himself in harm's way, man. I see that fight ending before round 3, but no later than round 3, I don't think. It's not going 5. I'll put it that way. It's not going 5. So what's the next one?
Pantoja and Kai Kara France.
Pantoja, Kai Kara France, right? So what are you thinking on that one?
I'm not even going to give an opinion because I don't know those guys well enough yet.
Okay.
Like, I vaguely heard of them, and I may have seen a fight or two, but not enough that it stuck.
Yeah. Well, Pantoja won the title from Brandon Moreno. He's defended it a couple times already. Pantoja's a beast. Like, he can wrestle, he can strike, but his fights are always to the wire, dude. They're always dangerous. It's like every title defense so far, he's come really close to losing, and he just managed to pull it out. It's going to be an interesting fight because Kai Kara France is a kickboxer. He's got excellent striking. If it goes to the ground, I got to favor Pantoja, and I feel like it's going to go to the ground at some point. But Kai Kara France is a live dog, and he's on a good little tear. He has good power. Again, it's like my head is saying Pantoja, but my heart is saying Kai Kara France. But
Yeah.
I like Kai Kara France because I watched Kai Kara France come in with Brandon Moreno when they did the Ultimate Fighter flyweight division, and he trained in Thailand. He trained in Muay Thai in Thailand for years,
Oh no.
and yeah, Kai Kara France. He's from Australia or New Zealand, I think Australia, but he trained in Thailand for years, dude. So his stand up, his striking is legit. He's a tough guy. It's just his ground game is such a question mark when it comes to Pantoja. Pantoja can wrestle, but Pantoja. One thing I do give Pantoja is he's not afraid to mix it up. He's not a wrestler. Like he can wrestle, but Pantoja will sit there and trade until he feels like, okay, well now I'm gonna go ahead and take this guy down. Like, so the opportunities are gonna be there for Kai Kara France. It's just if he can capitalize, So that's gonna be an interesting fight. I'm gonna pick Pantoja, but I'm gonna root for Kai Kara France. What's the next fight?
The next one is Brandon Royval versus Josh Van.
Oh, dude. Okay, so Royval, this is another flyweight fight. Royval, he just lost to Pantoja not too long ago. And Joshua Van, he was ranked like number 15, and then he just won. He just won recently and got against a higher contender. He got moved up. Joshua Van is an intriguing fighter. He's a very, very skilled stand-up guy. Very versatile striking, quick, good footwork, good head movement. He's getting a real test because, literally just a month ago, Joshua Van was ranked number 15, and now he's fighting Royval, who's probably in the top 5. What's Royval right now?
Oh, hold on. And you said they're flyweight? Yep. Okay. Oh, Royval is number 1.
Yeah. See what I mean? Like, Royval is number 1, and man, Joshua Van was ranked number 15. What's his rank right now?
12.
12. So this is
That's a hell of a game. And you want to know what's messed up? The money line for that one is the closest one, with Royval getting plus 102 and Van minus 122.
Van is favored in that fight. Wow. That I'm not touching that. Dude. But see what I mean? Van is a legit prospect, man. Like he's a legit guy, and they're really trying to fast track him. I mean, he went from number 15 to number 12, and now he's fighting the number 1 contender. Like, part of it is because Pantoja has beat most of the top contenders already in his division. So they got to fast track some guys up from the top 15 into the top 10 and into the top 5. I just wonder if this is a step too far for Van. Like, I would have liked to see Van fight a guy in the top 10 first. Like, somewhere between 6 and 10. They're really trying to fast track him. And Royval is crafty, man. He's a veteran. He's crafty. There's another guy too. He reminds me, him and Van kind of, they don't fight the exact same, but their styles are similar. Manel Kopp. Manel Kopp is another one that's coming up in the rankings. But yeah, even he didn't take from number 12 to number 1. That's a huge jump, dude. Good luck. I mean, Joshua Van has everything to gain and nothing to lose. I mean, do you think losing to the number one contender when you're ranked 12th is going to drop you out of the top 15? No. It's like, if anything, if he puts on a good performance, it could actually
that'll still raise it. Yep.
Like his stock could actually, even in a loss, his stock could go up. I think that's a likely scenario. I don't know, man. So what's the next fight? That's going to be a banger of a fight, though. Hoival and Joshua Van. Keep your eyes on that one. That might be fight of the night.
And then you got Benel Durish versus Renteo Machino. No fucking idea.
What is it? Mateo.
Moicano.
Moicano. Renato Moicano. Yeah, Moicano, dude. Okay. So you got Benil Dariush and Renato Moicano. Money Moicano. That's an interesting fight, too. Moicano, he's a jiu-jitsu guy. Very high-level jiu-jitsu guy. He just recently lost to Islam. It was Islam's last title defense. He took it on short notice because Armin Sarukian blew his weigh-in, and he came in heavy, couldn't make the weight. So the last-minute replacement was Renato Moicano, and Moicano lost to Islam in the first round. But it was on short notice. He didn't really get, to train for Islam or so. It's going to be interesting. Dariush is an older guy, but he's still got it. He's a good fighter. Moicano, what's the money line on that fight? What's Vegas saying?
Dariush is plus 100. Wait, hold on. That's not the regular. Okay, he's minus 102. And Moicano is minus 118.
Minus?
Yeah, that's what it says.
They're both minus?
Yep, for DraftKings and FanDuel.
How can they both be minus?
It's what it shows. It's literally the only one.
I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just asking. I'm asking DraftKings. How could they both be minus?
It's literally the only fight that's listed like that.
That means it's like they really don't know. Like, this is a fucking toss-up, That's going to be an interesting fight. I'm glad that they see it that way because I can't pick it either. There's just so many possibilities in that fight of how it could go. I'm not touching that one. I'll watch it, enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. It is unfortunately that time, though.
Well, we'll be back next week to talk about the card and see how our predictions went. Yeah, exactly. I've never seen that before either. Thank you guys for joining us this week on MMAniacs. We hope you enjoyed the show. Remember, we're also on YouTube. You can look it up on Huddle Sports Network. So thank you for supporting us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, yo, it's game time, ain't no messing around. Huddle Sports Network, the best in town. From NFL rumors to the latest trends, we got all your sports, just tune in, my friends. Catch us on Roku, Fire Stick, take your pick. Facebook, YouTube, where the action's slick. Daily shows that drop like a bomb. From 10 to 11, it's Ken and Ken, stay calm. Huddle up, catch the vibe, feel the rush. Get your news, get your fills in the clutch. Over 27 podcasts, we breaking it down. Join the team, Huddle Sports, wear the crown. Live every weekday, it's how we roll. Lions Talk with Jeremy B, we taking a stroll. From 11 to 12, don't miss a beat. We break down the game, make the info sweet. The Daily Huddle Podcast, noon to 1. CST Zone, we're just having fun. Toss your doubts, we bring the facts. Tune into the Huddle.